And then this is the latest thing we got yesterday. So this is over on IGN. Again, there's a link to all of this stuff in the video description below. But this is, I think, the beginning of Dreamhaven going on a little bit of a PR blast to sort of announce themselves to the world. And yes, they're getting ready to show off their games. So the title reads, "The game industry will continue to grow," former Blizzard president says on the eve of first new game. As Dreamhaven readies its new game, Mike Morhaime shares his thoughts on the state of the industry. So this article is super good, but we're going to go through it. So in 2024 has been a turbulent year for the games industry, to say the least. Between record layoffs, studio closes, and high-profile game cancellations, it's anyone's guess why anyone could enter the industry with optimism. I think in the past few years, a lot of investment capital has discovered games as being a very profitable thing to invest in, and a lot of money went into the games industry. So you had a ton of investment and startup. I think there was probably a bit of overinvestment that is being adjusted now, but I don't think that's an indication that there's anything wrong fundamentally with the business of games. I think it's still continuing to grow, counters Mike Morhaime, the former longtime president of Blizzard Entertainment, who oversaw the release of numerous hit games like World of Warcraft, StarCraft, and Overwatch. Maybe not as quickly as people thought with the COVID-19 pandemic. There was a bit of a leap forward, and that didn't get extrapolated forward the way that many people thought it would. It adjusted back the curve to that it was on before, but it's still growing. So yeah, I mean, we had the whole thing with massive investment in COVID, because you've got to remember, COVID was the whole thing of like captive audiences. Everybody is at home. What are they going to do? They're going to play games all the time. So tons of investment came in. Studios got scaled up and studios got scaled back because some things worked and some things didn't work and all of that stuff. Or if you're Microsoft, you just buy Activision Blizzard and literally fire 2,800 members of staff. So far. Assholes. Anyway, Morhaime is able to speak from a place of almost unparalleled experience. For almost 30 years under Morhaime, Blizzard released a near constant string of hits that include Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo 2, Hearthstone, and Overwatch. It might be a coincidence, but since Morhaime's departure, Blizzard hasn't returned to that summit. And it is absolutely the truth. I said it at the top of this video, it is the truth. Blizzard has not felt like a studio that has been run by game developers for a long, long time. You can see decisions in their games and you look at them and think that's just been done to generate revenue, in its counter to actually making a fun game, which surely that's what everybody wants to produce who are working on the games. I cannot imagine there are people working at Blizzard thinking, wow, gee whiz, this is great. I get to populate a battle pass with useless cosmetics. There cannot be people there who are enjoying that. They just can't. You know, you want to push the envelope. You want to give gamers a good experience. You want to create art, not shite. So I don't know. But anyway, that's the state of modern games. But let's move on, because we can talk about that forever. It's still a very competitive industry. And so I think that the top games are still responsible for the bulk of the profit, which is true. You know, Call of Duty and whatever. But that's been the case for a really long time, Morhaime adds. So I don't think that's necessarily a new thing. You know that in order to be successful in gaming, your game has to attract an audience, and it really has to rise above the noise in the crowd. Which it does, but also, you know, there is a world, you know, we look at games actually. You look at your Space Marine 2 recently, you go a bit further back this year, you look at your Helldivers 2. Now I know these Helldivers 2.
Dang it.
What I'm saying is, it was
such a
made
close
by a
game.
studio of game developers, not money men. Space Marine 2, it seems to be from the same sort of ilk. I mean, even go back a bit further and look at games like Power World. You know, the same thing. It isn't built by people who are businessmen. It's built by game developers, and that gives the thing the magic secret sauce, which I think a lot of these massive companies just literally don't have. Anyway, I think there was probably a bit of overinvestment. Okay, we've been over that. Massive. I like your quote, we love it. But anyway, let's move on. So, although he left the company he co-founded, he left in 2018. I thought he left in 2020. See, what the hell? You know, time is compressed. Actually, fun fact, if you go into the Blizzard World map on Overwatch 2, you can see in the StarCraft exhibit on the ground floor, there is a whole room dedicated to Mike Morhaime. It's actually quite cool. Go and check it out if you've got the game, or just download the game. It's free to play, whatever. Although he left the company in 2018, Morhaime didn't just ride off into the sunset. Just a year later, he announced Dreamhaven with a new video game company that will serve as both publisher and developer, thanks to two internal game studios, Moonshot and Secret Door. Hardly a vacation, but one big difference between Dreamhaven and Blizzard is that Moorheim isn't starting from scratch, because Dreamhaven is no startup. When I started many years ago, Blizzard started as a very small, we started with 3 people and grew from there. I think the biggest difference is the amount of experience that Dreamhaven leadership has, and even all the super talented contributors on these projects. These are really talented, experienced game makers, and our central team also was built with people who have a ton of experience. And so we're able to take all that experience from all of our collective past and apply it to what we're doing here. Whereas in the beginning at Blizzard, we were just figuring it out for the first time. He enlisted the help of industry veterans to fill up the ranks of Dreamhaven. Many of the folks at Dreamhaven and Secret Door come from major studios, including Secret Door game director Erin Marek comes from Riot Games and EA, and Secret Door studio head Chris Sigerty comes from Blizzard, who both sat down with IGN for this interview. But right out of the gate, Dreamhaven launched right into the midst of a global pandemic. We were all high-fiving, like, here we go, we're going to start and we're going to have the studios. We're going to start, and then boom. COVID hits, Sigerty recalls. We announced our company in September 2020, but we had actually formed it right at the end of 2019. Beginning of 2020. Okay, yeah, sorry. I was like, what is this? Yeah, the end of 2019 obviously will be close to the beginning of 2020 or whatever. And then COVID hit, and that changed everything. Like every other game studio at the time, Secret Door transitioned to a remote work model and went heads down on their first game. Having weathered that initial storm, Secret Door is gearing up for the big reveal on a collaborative game inspired by the developers' love of tabletop board games, and they won't be going at it alone thanks to help from Dreamhaven, which owns the studio but acts as a supportive arm. In a way, it sounds like an indie studio, but with the resources of a big company, at least according to the way Secret Door's game director, Erin Marek, describes it. I love the size of the team. I think it's great. The thing I really appreciate is I love indie and small development because you get to touch so many things you normally wouldn't at a large studio. Usually, at a large studio, you're relegated to your title. That's something at Secret Door we've really tried to push and differentiate from. And I'm actually a perfect example. I actually got hired as the lead producer and ended up transitioning over to the game director role. And part of that was because in my lead producer role, I was also helping with design. I was being included, allowed to explore these passions that I was always really excited about, but maybe in previous jobs just didn't have the ability to do so. Ultimately, given the wealth of talent at Dreamhaven, Moorheim and the founding team settled on a structure where internal studios like Secret Door can be in control of their destiny. And I think this is a key thing, right? Control of your destiny, because you have to remember, like, Mike Moorheim has gone through the whole thing with Activision Blizzard. He's seen the way Bobby Kotick kind of took control of the game franchises and the game studios that Blizzard had built. And obviously we go forward to the state of everything is in now. For him saying he wants the devs to be literally in control of their own destiny is probably music to the ears of the devs, because they want this, because these are the guys that will build you a game. You know, you want them to have control. You can't just let them run riot and go, here's an unlimited budget, do whatever you like, sort of thing. They do need some sort of control, but also they should be the ones in control, not some suit going. I mean, we've seen this with like a ton of games recently. I don't want to rag on Concord, but look at Concord. You can tell what happened with that was, oh, look, this hero shoot is really popular, and this is like 2016, 2017. We should make one of these. Somebody rings up and goes, right, we need a game. We've got any game studios going? You got, yeah, we've got this one. We started up. We've got some Destiny devs and bit of this, bit of that. Yeah, well, I want them to make a hero shooter, 6v6, 5v5, whatever it was. Off you go, make the game, yeah. And then when it launches years later, it's way too late. Doesn't make any sense and fails. Now, obviously, it had other issues as well. But it's just one example, right? That's money men, money people in charge of budgets, literally running the show, and they don't know what they're talking about because they just want cash. And it's like a lot of talent gets wasted on these kind of pointless things. So this is like in control of their destiny. Is definitely music. It's music to my ears as well, because I want to see what people can come up with when they're fully supported. While the team at Dreamhaven can offer support wherever else that's needed, whether it's on the development, production, or publishing side. And while launching a new IP seems daunting because of the state of the games industry in 2024, Dreamhaven's decades of experience does seem to offer a sort of buffer. Sigerty, who is executive producer on games like Warcraft 3 and Hearthstone, believes this to be the case. I don't think we've seen this quote, so we'll go over it. I guess we'll get onto this in a minute, but this is what I saw previously in my career, was games that delivered with a high level of quality that built up strong communities around them, and then the next game comes, and then the next game comes. Okay, interesting. Let's see what context that's in, though. I joined Dreamhaven because of the people involved, and I definitely believe in these people and their values, and who they are and how they tackle challenges. It is challenging. It's a challenging time. We've watched it ebb and flow, as Mike spoke to, from a really insane time where it felt like if you'd even worked at a company on a game, you could get funding to there's not a lot of funding right now, and it's definitely caused some shake-ups. While there's no single answer to how a studio can overcome these challenges, Sigurti and Marek share that Secret Door's first game will aim to deliver at the highest level of quality they can, and then go from there. Something Sigurti said he learned from his past experiences in games. This is what I saw previously in my career, was games that delivered with a high level of quality, that built up strong communities around them, and then the next game comes, and then the next game comes. As long as I feel like we pay attention to the level of quality and build the right community around what we're trying to do, I'm confident we can make a dent and be part of this amazing industry that we all enjoy so much. Okay. So given the veteran talent from Blizzard and Riot, I wondered if Secret Door's first game would draw upon the team's experience with competitive multiplayer games, not quite according to the developers. Okay. When we set out at the founding of the studio to talk about what we wanted to build, one of the big things we made was a decision on very early was we didn't want to start by making a competitive game, Sigurti says. We wanted our passions to push forward. Specifically, we wanted to focus on collaborative games. Okay. Sigurti points to the board game table behind him during the interview. Inspirationally, this board game table behind me and tabletop and board games in general was something that we found we were all doing in our free time. While developing video games, certainly playing video games, we were also getting together physically around a board game table. And that was very special to us as we realised and reflected on that. My background has been at Riot, adds Merrick. It's also very competitive, esports focused, etc. Before that, I was at EA on Madden, which is a sports franchise. So I'd say that my experience with games I've worked on isn't particularly similar to what we're making now, but I think that the skill sets that I've learned working on those games has been incredibly valuable in helping develop this, especially even when we look at collaboration, especially even when we look at collaboration on how you build positivity in games and how you get people whatever. Let's loot the collaboration. While we wait a bit longer to find out what Secret Door is keeping behind the lock, Dreamhaven is already fulfilling its other duties as publisher, having announced today that it will bring Linked Banner of the Spark to market from outside studio Fuzzy Bot. I think there's probably more gamers playing games and consuming games at this time than there has been at any other point in history, Morheim says, when talking about the games industry as it is now. And I think the future is really bright for games as a popular pastime. I think we've reached a mass market and we've dreamed about it for a really long time. And I think we're there. They used to talk about games being as big as Hollywood, and I think they were fudging the math initially when they said that. But now I think that's actually really...
That's crazy.
So this is the game. This is FuzzyBot, which is the studio, and it's Linked Banner of the Spark. And this is just basically the press release saying, hey, we're publishing it. Now, effectively, this is an indie game, which is fine because this is what Dreamhaven is looking to do. It's looking to support studios as well as their 2 internal studios. And maybe they'll add more internal studios in the future. But I thought it'd be interesting to just quickly throw this up there just to show you guys that, yeah, they are a publisher and this is what they were talking about. And yeah, this is going to be a game that they're going to publish, which is fine. But I think this article over on gamesindustry.biz is actually a bit better than reading off their press release because this, again, gets you into the sort of mindset of Dreamhaven. So, yeah, this is what... Well, we'll just go through it. So, how Mike Morheim's Dreamhaven helps indies with the good, the bad, and the ugly of launching games. We speak to Morheim, Paul Delabitta, and FuzzyBot CEO Tatiana Dashlova about the publisher's first release. And this article is by James Batchelor, the editor-in-chief. So, in 2020, Blizzard co-founder Mike Morheim created Dreamhaven, a new developer and publisher with 2 internal studios and a partnership program designed to help other indies. A few companies can survive 4 years without announcing or releasing a product, but the funding put forward by Morheim and his wife, Amy, also a co-founder, as well as external investment partners, has given Dreamhaven the runway to fully staff up its publishing team. It has also been able to recruit for its Moonshot and Secret Door studios, both of which are led by former Blizzard developers. There are now 100 people across all of Dreamhaven, including around 30 at Secret Door and just over 50 at Moonshot. Yesterday, Dreamhaven announced the first title it will be publishing, Linked Banner of the Spark by FuzzyBot Games, a studio that's been part of the company's partnership program. The game enters early access on Steam on October the 22nd. Meanwhile, Secret Door is on course to announce its first title next month, with Moonshot not far behind. So remember, the game that we're going to get is from Secret Door, and it looks like it's some sort of board game focused thing. But then there's also Moonshot, whatever they're working on. Apparently that's not that far off from being announced as well. So we could potentially have these two sort of old style classic Blizzard games with that Blizzard polish magic being launched, or at least spoken about in the next couple of months, which I think is really interesting. And honestly, I'm really excited to see what goes on. We would have loved to have released our games earlier had they been ready. Moreheim laughs. The course of development is what it is, and this is how long it took, which is fair enough. Nobody had to start Dreamhaven. Everybody chose to do this because it allowed them to focus on the things they were excited to focus on. Again, highlighting the whole issue of you don't want management layers above you telling you what to do. It's like, what do you want to work on? What are you good at? Go and do it. Which just seems like the dream position, which I'm sure, and in fact I know this is how Blizzard used to be. It straight up used to be like that. A Dreamhaven's partnership program involves making small investments in each studio, but also offering the teams considerable experience in an advisory capacity. We have a lot of expertise, not only in our publishing capabilities, but also we have really good designers that can potentially just jam with some of the other developers in our partner studios. Help them think through problems. Della Bitter explains. It's really good to have an independent person in your discipline to talk to. Our engineers are always talking together about challenges that they're facing. And so through our partnerships program, we actually built this really cool community of independent developers that can share knowledge, talk about different things, and help each other, because we're all in various stages of breaking out on our own and doing something new. Dreamhaven's main goal is to create and support a healthy ecosystem of independent developers, whether that's through those partnership investments and publishing deals. Moreheim emphasizes that studios who sign up to Dreamhaven's partnership program are not then obligated to use its publishing services. In fact, we want to help them find the best possible publishing partner that they could find, he says. It doesn't have to be us. We may not be the right partner in a lot of cases. He continues, we're trying to create win-win relationships with all of our partners. The way the publishing deal is structured, we win together with Fuzzybot. There's not going to be a situation where somehow Dreamhaven wins and Fuzzybot loses, which again might be alluding to things that have happened in the past that maybe he has been privy to. Paul Della Bitter, who leads Dreamhaven's publishing efforts, adds, we just think a lot of the innovation that we see, either new IP or new gameplay or new genres, are being created with independent developers, which is true, right? That is actually true, right? And we think that's really important for our industry and for gamers to just have these new experiences. And this is true, right? Because again, you look at the games that generate all the, you know, massive amounts of money and stuff, you know, your COD, your FIFA, all the rest of those games. They are like, nothing is new. You know what I mean? It's just like an additional content added to whatever the game is. You know, you're never getting anything which is pushing the envelope forward. It's just more refinements, maybe a slight different deviation. New gaming experiences. And I think, again, like to sort of, you know, ramble about what happened this year, when you look at the likes of Helldivers, which was, you know, an evolution of their original format of game, which was a top-down, you know, PvE team-based shooter, horde shooter, to what became a third-person, much larger scale horde shooter, was like, that is evolution, and it's a new experience that we didn't really have before. Space Marine 2, on the other hand, is an interesting one, because it's almost like going back to that golden era of like Gears of War and games like that, back to the Xbox 360 era, where it's just a self-contained game and that's it. It's a game and we've made a really fun game. So in some ways, sometimes going back, taking an old system and sort of jazzing it up can actually, you know, yield good results. But the truth is, a lot of the like most profitable games are generally rehashes of things that have come before. Yeah, and so the article goes on to say, Dreamhaven points towards Link's Banner of the Spark as a prime example of this. The game focuses on co-op action, but also involves town builder elements between runs, a combination that developer Fuzzybot hopes will help the title stand out. Fuzzybot was first formed during the pandemic by a group of former Electronic Arts developers who grew to a team that included former Assassin's Creed and Destiny devs, seeking to build something different from the AAA blockbusters they were used to. The team aimed to make something that filled a gap in the market. So yeah, I mean, that's all fair enough. Anyway, it goes on to say, the whole process gave us confidence that Dreamhaven would be good partners through the good, the bad, and the ugly of launching a game these days. CEO Tatiana Deshlova says the developer noticed that most cooperative games are heavily focused on action, but there are not many titles that appeal to less hardcore players. We didn't have a lot of games that we could play for our friends and family that weren't like very hardcore shooter, or where you needed to have a really high dexterity with a controller, or it was games that were very cozy but not really fun if you liked some action. So we wanted to create a game that is sort of like this. What if Animal Crossing had a lot more action, a positive place to hang out, to have different types of experiences for different players, and that would facilitate all playing together? So I think this is quite interesting then. Obviously, they're looking at different styles of games, maybe games that have not existed before, or mashing different genres together, which could be quite lucrative and quite effective. This doesn't really sound like a game for me, though, I'll be totally honest, but hey, it's something that wouldn't have existed unless Dreamhaven existed. So I guess there are positives to take away from that. And again, more diversity in the game development genres actually will push things forward as well. So I'm all for that. So what about all of these new Dreamhaven games then? Well, if you check this website out, there's a link to this in the video description below. So they need playtesters, and you can sign up to this and they might add you to playtest whatever their new games are. And we know there are 2 games coming. So it just basically says, hello friends, it's been a while, hasn't it? Our in-house studios and partner studios have been hard at work creating experiences and worlds we believe you will love. We're thrilled to share with you what we've been working on, and hearing your feedback will be invaluable to us. It's important to note that this will be the first time our games will be playable by the public. Many of them might still be in earlier phases of development, which means you'll see a lot of work in progress content, from bugs to blips to everything in between. We hope you'll join us in our development journey so we can make great games together. If you want to be considered for playtests, please complete the short survey. So like I said, guys, there's a link in the video description below if you want to go and check this out. Yeah, so this could be the sort of return of old Blizzard. Now, like I said, we've seen all of these games come from Blizzard over all the years Blizzard has been around. I mean, Warcraft recently celebrated its 25th anniversary. You've got all the Warcraft games. You've got World of Warcraft. You've got Hearthstone. You've got Overwatch. These were games that were all driven by developers. Developers wanted to make these games. They made them, and they all absolutely were, you know, world beaters. They were lucky to have the massive, like, sort of juggernaut of Blizzard behind them with that, whether it's all of their systems, their financial support, all of that stuff, and also the Blizzard name, right? Because back in those days, it was seen as like the holy grail. Everybody who was anybody wanted to work at Blizzard. Obviously, that's not the case anymore, but back then it was. And then when we look at 2018 and 2019, when Mike Morhaime steps away from Blizzard, of course, he was a co-founder, and then he goes away and founds Dreamhaven. If we look at the state of Blizzard games we've seen now, obviously, you know, my specialty would be Overwatch and talking about that. But you can see the way that game has changed, right? You can see the way that that game, to me, appears to be very product-driven. It's not game-driven. It isn't delivering new experience to players. It's not, this sounds cheesy, but it's not like delighting players in different ways to make them then spend money. It's just going, you want a skin? That's 50 quid. It's like, that is just outrageous, and they're doing it a lot. So to me, that stinks of people that are more interested in product development and design rather than actual game designers and people who basically want to build art. Let me know what you think about all of this, guys, in the comments below. This is very interesting times, and this could be, it's almost like the revival of Blizzard, the old Blizzard, but it's a company called Dreamhaven. Right, guys, thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed that, then let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. You can subscribe to the channel as well. That helps a ton. And you can follow me on everything, which is @Stylosa. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. See you soon.
Damn it, man.
So there's a new exploit that people are now doing. Criticism is mounting for I'm Fired Up with some community members accusing Liquid Raider of exploiting and calling for a temporary ban, similar to what other Raced World First Raiders received for exploiting. It looks as if a macro targeting your spells to the boss and not directly targeting the boss itself will not consume splinters and can go up to 250 stacks, allowing for a massive DPS increase. So let's take a look at it.
When is it, Tanks?
10 seconds from now.
Okay.
Do you have open, sir? 2.
Yeah.
You're gonna die after anyways.
Yeah, it's fine. Frontals here.
So they've got 250 stacks right there.
Big personally is the hardest ones of the fight, by the way. Hardest ones of the fight.
Man,
Yeah, Jack, just tank.
how about that? And they document it?
2, 1, dodge lines. Jack, run around.
I can parry.
So I'll tell you this.
It's gonna be Riku.
They did. There is a 0% chance that this was intended if it's functioning the way that this is being described. So, and here's the thing. Not only did he exploit the bug, but he changed his UI to make it seem like he wasn't targeting himself. This is so bad because it's intentionally deceptive. Dude shouldn't just be suspended or banned, but the team can't keep him on the roster unless it also supports this behavior. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I think it's totally fine that they're cheating. Let him cheat. It's a fucking video game. Who cares? Who cares? It's a game. Like, yeah, like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just a game. Like, oh my god, wow, they're cheating in the fucking race. Oh my god. Yeah, it's obviously like if you break the rules, you should get suspended. You obviously should. But there should be 2 Race to World first. One's for easy, exploit 0. Yeah, there you go. Clever use of game mechanics. If they got banned for fucking rep exploiting, this shit should land you a ban too. So if you have a macro, and let me explain how this works again, right? And that way people can understand it. And I want to read it again myself so I make sure I'm explaining it the right way. If the macro targeting your spells to the boss, but not directly targeting the boss itself, will not consume splinters, and it can go up to 250 stacks. Okay, so basically they have a macro that like, it targets the boss, but it doesn't make your character target the boss. It's like probably like some sort of like focus target macro or something like that. And it's causing them to be able to do like a bunch of extra damage. Well, it's very obvious that this is not intended. Like, there has never been a mechanic in the video game ever that has worked this way, and it was done intentionally. Every single time that this has ever happened, it's always been against the rules. Ban of cheating bitches? Yeah, no, I get it, right? But like, I just don't really give a shit that much. Obviously, they should get banned for it. Yeah, definitely. But like, to get really mad about this, I really don't think so. I think that Blizzard and like the community puts too much of an emphasis on the world first race in general. And I think that it's being bad for the game. I do. I think it's bad for the game when you see, you know, these fights and like all of this development time that's being put into over designing mythic level raids and fine tuning them for the 50 biggest sweat lords in the video game in order to compete against each other, or maybe it's 100 now. It just doesn't really seem like it's a very good investment of resources, right? WeakAura has ruined Race to World first. The WeakAuras play the game for you. Well, there's no reason that you should have any add-ons in the game. Like, if Blizzard took every add-on out of WoW tomorrow, the game would instantly become better. The problem is that what happens with add-ons is that once people have add-ons, then the developers have to design the game around having add-ons. And that's what happens, is that, do you really think fights would be this complex and hard if nobody had add-ons? No. And if they were, they would be telegraphed in a much better way. But there isn't good telegraphing. There is a lot of times like just weird fucking mechanics that are hard to plan around. And the reason why is because you have add-ons. That's it. You'll be able to use AI to program your character by next year, hopefully, right? The game would instantly be better and the player's skill worse. Exactly. And so, yeah, this is the worst fucking take, and you actively make the competition you enjoy worse by advocating for this shit. It's bad enough we lose out on seeing good competitors because they said a word on Twitter didn't like, but you want to kick the guy out over this. Absolutely pathetic. Here's the thing. I don't really care about this because it's just a game. However, I understand why they're mad. Does that make sense? Like, I think that, like, getting this upset, like, I don't give a shit. It's a fucking game. Like, who cares? But at the same time, and I want to listen to, like, what's happening, or want to look at what's happening here. This is a competition, and the competition is very clearly about playing the game within the rules. So if you're breaking the rules, you're cheating in the competition. And if you have somebody who's cheating on your team, now you are a beneficiary of cheating. So if you keep that person on your team, you are passively saying, we are okay with cheating. That's the way it goes. So it's bad for everybody. Genji should be permanently banned from WoW then? Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know what he did, etc. But it's not a good look to have the competitive side have cheaters in front of 100K viewers. Well, if I was Blizzard, what would I do if I was Blizzard? I would just watch the clip and then I would suspend the account for like 90 days. I just do a 90-day suspension. Yeah, that's what I do. Like, these are people who are experts in the game. They're cheating on purpose. It's not like they accidentally did this. Yeah, they didn't act like, oh, wow, I accidentally figured out this weak aura that just accidentally gave me this massive damage increase. Yeah, if it's against TOS, ban them. Exactly. They should know better. Yeah, exactly. That's their life ruined, though. Well, if it's their life that's ruined over cheating in a video game, then maybe they shouldn't have cheated in a video game. If you care about the, if like you think that, oh, well, you know, this is their life and it's unfair that they're going to be punished this heavily. Well, why don't you think about it from the opposite direction and think to yourself, if this mattered so much to them and their life depended on it, and this is their career, why would they cheat in their career and put it at risk? Like, I mean, let's think about this from the opposite direction here. Like, why would you put your career at risk over cheating? They'll do it again? Yeah, that's it. Or this retard cheat then? Exactly, yeah, you shouldn't do it. Remember when all those guilds got caught illegally buying gold, and that was fine, right? Isn't that kind of cheating? I don't think Blizzard really gives a shit, to be honest with you. And I'll read some of the comments here. But yeah, if you're, the thing is, like, if you are a team, and you have somebody on your team that is intentionally cheating, then yes, you're doing something wrong. It's crazy to me because of how fucking obvious it is. It's crazy that this isn't just like the obvious common sense take that every single normal person has, right? You're cheating by proxy. Yeah, exactly. And it's also, it's not even remotely same it's not even remotely same to gold buying. Yes, it is. You are knowingly and intentionally taking advantage of a function in the game that is not intended and you're not supposed to be able to take advantage of. Both of them are you gaining an advantage in gameplay by your actions knowingly. Obviously, there's differences in terms of, like, you know, the nuances, but if you look at it at a fundamental level, that's what's happening. So yeah. Echo method should get short bans for exploits after previous races. This will ruin their life. Nonsense logic. Apply this to any other competitive sort. We can't suspend him for doing anabolic drugs. It'll ruin his career. Well, to be fair, they actually have done that with some people in, like, college and, like, even high school, right? You know, for, like, drinking and driving, etc. And it's bad every time, right? That's why it's newsworthy. It's like, oh wow, something bad happened, and that's the bad thing, you know? Didn't Echo cheat earlier, so where's this energy for them? Well, if you want to show me a link of them cheating, then I'll talk about that too. You think I give a fuck about who wins this race? I don't care. Who the fuck would I care? You give a fuck about, oh wow, who kills the last boss in the hard mode first? Oh my god, who gives a fuck? Why would I even for a second of my life care about this? No, it has nothing to do with that. It's a game, yeah. And so Echo should be banned because they cheated Instinct Jua in the previous raid. So I think that if you do something that you know that you're cheating with, Blizzard should suspend everybody involved if they want to make the race fair. Because it would be really funny. You have to admit, it would be really funny if one of the groups in Race to World First was intentionally cheating and they were all doing it, and then Blizzard suspended them all for a week. That would be really funny if that happened. That would be a pro gamer move by Blizzard. That'd be really funny. Yeah, I think so. You just want to see the world burn for content? Absolutely. How is this cheating? You aren't changing game code. If the game allows it, then it isn't cheating. They aren't changing anything about how the game works in a moment in time. So basically, the reason why it's cheating is because they know that that it should not function that way. Every single person in Limit and Echo and Method, all of these guys have put over 10,000 hours probably into the game. If you've put that much time into the game, you know the way the game works. These people are the top of the top. They understand the game down to the individual nuts and bolts. And if they're taking advantage of something, that they know. It's kind of like, here's a good example. It's like the Chase Bank glitch. Remember that? Where people kept withdrawing a bunch of money from Chase Bank and like, oh, I'm gonna write myself a check for $40,000. I'm gonna be rich, right? That's not how it works. If you take advantage of something that is a weakness in a system, that doesn't necessarily, like, it means that you are both wrong, right? So like if a system is broken, then the system is bad. But if you take advantage of a broken system, you are still doing something with malicious intent. And I think it's the intent that is the problem. That's it. I kind of agree with dude, because if we didn't do it, we're not responsible, right? Don't ban. No, I don't think so. I think that if you are doing something that you know you shouldn't be doing, and you know shouldn't function that way, and you're still doing it, you're exploiting. That's what I think. I think you're doing it. Yeah. Like, and this is the way it is in any other world. And that's also inside of the terms of service. But what if you aren't aware? They are. They are aware. Yeah, they're 100% aware. You really think, like, do you really think that these guys that play the game professionally don't know what's happening? Really? You really think that? It's a macro? Yeah. You're 100% right. The intent's what's important here? Yeah, exactly. Is slide canceling and Warzone cheating? I don't know. Like, I haven't played Warzone. I'm not sure how, like, Warzone works. I can't talk about Warzone. I have no idea. Yeah, it's a mechanic? Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't know I was doing 120. Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. Preach got banned for experience potions in BFA 2. Yeah, and it was fair that he got banned. Even he said it was fair because he knew he was doing it. He knew he was taking advantage of something. Does a glitch or bug considered a cheat? It depends on how you're using it, but in some cases, yeah. But yeah, there we go. So we have more drama in the Race to World first. Obviously, I'll read some of the post engagements and see what people are saying here. And there should be 2 races. What's this here? Clever use of game mechanics. Not gonna lie, if they get banned for fucking rep exploiting, this shit should end you a ban too. Absolutely. Suspend them for a minimum of 6 months, or in my opinion, ban them outright. Yeah, I'd say 90 days, something like that would be fair. Not gonna lie, I don't consider it an exploit. Okay, he does. Yep, he does. That's why he's hiding it with a weak aura. Pretty simple, huh? People defending this are the same ones that cry on Reddit. They got banned for nothing. I'll never support tyrant developers like Blizzard, especially not with my subscription-based game. I don't know about that. What people don't understand is if you can't reach this result by accident, you can discover it by accident, but no way to be able to reach this result while discovering it by accident. Exactly. Yeah. Very true. People defending this. Let me see if I can look at it on the... is this on the WoW subreddit? Let's see if there's anything that's interesting here. I don't consider an exploit. Yeah, it obviously is. It's looking like nobody's really talking a lot about it. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Race toward first, liquid mages exploiting splinter bug, explanation of how the exploit works. This is a plater focus texture. It does not target the boss. He targets him for the entire fight. See the blue targeting circle? This is LVUI focus, not target. The bug stacks never proc since they only proc on the target and therefore stack up to 250. Wow, what a surprise. And then fired up asking Max to hide his screen.
God's still here.
Max.
Did I say if you
We
need
got
us,
no
we'll
rally
let
sheet
you
house
know?
phone.
Yeah.
The house
Dude,
phone.
that goes crazy.
Max,
Did anyone get up?
set your screen on someone else's besides mine over dinner.
Like we all just tried to like kind of rock it.
Ideally, we save health pots and health for that.
Oh, did he do it?
Yeah, I mean I used Helson and Link.
What kind of a retard do you have to be to type this and say this publicly? Shouldn't you should have DM'd him and said check DMs. Why would you say this publicly? Like, why would you do that? It's so stupid. That's so dumb. Why? Oh my god.
I like scratching.
Oh god. Okay. Next, fired up focusing boss. Exploit works only if you don't target the boss. Here we go.
That's like, that's... come on.
Uh-huh. Not really a whole lot to see there.
In the intermission.
Let's see the next one. Description of the spell. Blizzard trying to fix 250 splinters buffs. Whenever you have 8 or more of the splinters, you automatically cast a splinter storm at your target. Embedded splinters max stack reduced to 8 until splinter storm is learned. So they're trying to fix it. Fired up having 200 plus splinter stacks. Wow. 5:30 minute. If I targets the boss for the first time to do massive damage. Picture of his details breakdown. Huh. That's crazy. Wow. What a shock. There we go. Yeah, I guess he must just be that much better than everybody else.
10 seconds from now.
Okay. Who's gonna do it?
Sir?
Yeah,
You're
five,
gonna die
five.
after anyways.
Yeah, it's fine. Frontals here. Send the close ones through.
Don't know.
Laser taunt.
Big personal. These are the hardest ones of the fight, by the way.
dead.
Hardest
Now
ones
he's
of the
doing
fight.
like mega dick damage.
Reactor's tank.
Yeah, Shaq,
Yeah, I
just
got
tank.
this shit,
Okay,
man.
orbs are blowing up. 3, 2, 1. Dodge lines. Shaq, run around.
I think he's got
I
it for
can
now,
I
man.
can parry
I'll
it.
dodge it.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, it's gonna be
You guys
Riku.
saw that? Like, bro,
Oh,
we're gonna meet it.
I needed to move it, I guess.
He had to put it over there.
Fucking
Yeah, bro,
boo.
he popped off. That's crazy. He's a great player? I guess so. Yeah, that must be it. The underlying bug has been fixed. Just clear up some confusion. Somebody copied their post with no attribution. I don't know what this is. Comments here are great to read. Bunch of Liquid, Echo, and Method meat riders fighting each other. Who cares? Echo automated the input against Farak, while Scripe calls macro usage to avoid detection. At the end of these games, the end of the day, these guilds are going to push boundaries. Yeah, I think that if you're knowingly exploiting a bug, you should get suspended. It's just that simple. And the idea that Blizzard isn't going to suspend them because of the race, all that does is make Blizzard look stupid, and it makes them look weak. So yeah, it's that simple. If I convert into time for a taste test, probably in a couple hours. That's why I kind of thought. What do you think is the line between cheating and exploiting and extreme proficiency, like farming one area because it's the best experience per hour? Can't be the game how it's designed to be played, but the place the players found the weakness. This is like an extreme, like we can talk about gray areas all you want, but this isn't really a gray area. It's obvious that he was doing it on purpose. So yeah.
Ugh.